they know Richard's not here, right?
Oh, but I'm bummed.
How's everybody doing? What? Well, bless your heart. All right. There's a lot of love. I'm going to tell Jared to stay home more often. Get used to this. Can we do solo gold panels next year? I'm kidding. We all miss my big dumb friend. And I'll just say it now. He had a bad weekend last weekend. He's dealing with what he's got to deal with. So just send him some support and love, and have a good weekend this weekend. When he showed up on set, because he had a couple days off last week, which turned out to be a good thing. But when he showed up on set on Wednesday, I brought him in handcuffs, so we're having fun. We're having fun with it.
Were they fuzzy?
You know, the crew really wanted to wear orange jumpsuits, but we couldn't get them in time, so it wasn't like we thought it was a bad idea. We were certainly going to roll with it. Anyway, he's doing fine. He sends his love, and you're stuck with me today, so sorry. And apparently, what's his name? Misha? Misha is going to join me this afternoon for. Now we've done some talks before in the past together, and they've generally ended terribly. So look out for that. Well, let's get to some questions if you guys have. Oh, okay, we've got questions today. This is good. The day's looking up.
You have to answer all.
How about right here?
Hi.
Hey.
How are you? We just wanted to ask.
Good.
You are going to have a storyline this year as Dean.
Am I going to have a storyline? She was wondering if Dean was going to have a storyline this year. That's a great question. Yeah, the storyline is a little bit more jointed than normal. Usually, you know, we've got one brother doing this, one brother doing that, and they kind of deal with their own personal situations together. But this year is a little bit more. They're both in it together, which is great. You know, I think given that you know we're heading to the end, I think it's good that we're kind of in it together. So yeah, there's not necessarily a specific storyline that's arcing. There will certainly be episodes where Dean does this thing and Sam's off doing this thing, or Dean's with this character and not, you know, Sam's off with this character. I will say that the episode that we're shooting right now, which is 1510. 1510? Is it 1510, Cliff? No? He left.
Just go with it.
What? Oh, there he is. Are we 15? Are we on episode 9 or 10 right now? No, we didn't just finish 10. We just finished 9.
I think you just finished episode 9, darling.
We just finished.
Just want to help you keep your ducks in a row.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that. And it is one of the reasons why we can't really function without amazing women on our set.
You're doing great.
Yeah. Thank you. If I have any more questions about anything,
I'll be watching.
Yeah, you always are. Yes, we just finished 9. Oh, I love Ruth. And we're filming 10, and 10 10's gonna be, it's shaping up to be one of my favorite episodes this season. Simply because it's a one-off and it's a funny one.
Oh, good.
we had a fight scene on Friday night that, keep in mind, it was a fight scene, big, like taking on monsters, that had the crew like doubled over laughing. And it's, I don't think I'm gonna give anything away by saying this, but the premise is essentially Sam and Dean have kind of lost their ability to do things like Winchesters do. They can't fight cool anymore. Dean's got cavities. Sam's got a cold. It's pretty funny. But don't worry, we'll get our mojo back, I think, in the next episode. So anyway.
Thank you.
How about there with the, I don't know, is that a light? Yes. That's a red light. All right. It worked.
Well, thank you for coming back to Virginia. Glad to have you.
For sure.
You have the perfect day, just you, your wife, your kids. What would you do? Either that, or would it be easier to ask any chance of a sequel to 10-inch Hero?
Yes, 11-inch Hero. I don't know about that. Perfect day. You know, there was a pretty perfect day yesterday that I was not a part of that I would have really liked to have been there. But we have out at our brewery, we had a fall fest, and there was like a big there was a big flea market. The Austin flea market was out there, so there's just tents and the vendors and arts and crafts and kids running everywhere, and it was just a perfect like fall day in Austin, and that would have been that. I was a little sad I wasn't there, but I'll get my chance next weekend. So, but yeah, it's just I don't know, just being together. I don't care what we're doing. Perfect day is just being with them. So, all right. Yeah, they're pretty great, and they love their dad for now. Let's go over here. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. So, besides, going into singing, which is great, it's awesome. As far as acting's concerned, do you have anything on the horizon after Supernatural?
Batman. And I think that ship has sailed. Although somebody was like, hey, dude, there's always the Todd Phillips Batman, who directed the latest Joker, for those of you who are wondering. I'm like, oh yeah, that would be a nice deep dive into the Dark Knight. Nothing set in stone. I've been kind of dragging my feet on that a little bit just because I really wanted to focus on this season and not get distracted by anything else. But I am supposed to go down to Los Angeles in the next few weeks and start having some meetings that I've been putting off for a while. So network and studio and some producer meetings, just wanting to ask me that same question and talk about my future, which I'm like I'm kind of living on that right now. I'm like, hey, people will care. This is awesome. like the studio is concerned. Like, they're concerned about what I want to do. I'm like, that's great. But what that is, I have no clue. But when I know, you will know. Thanks. All right, let's go over here. How about, yes, waving, yes. Hi.
So I go to school in New Orleans. Last year was my first Mardi Gras, so it was really cool to see you as King of Bacchus. Mardi Gras, one of my favorite actors. I freaked out. So what was that like being the king of that Mardi Gras parade?
It was about the best experience you could possibly have. It was my first Mardi Gras. Yeah, no joke.
Go big.
And yeah, it's kind of like I don't need to do it anymore. I will. I'll be back this year for sure, or this coming Mardi Gras. I've already asked time off. But yeah, no, it was kind of the most amazing experience, and I was able. They were so nice enough to allow me to bring some friends. So I had a few friends that came with me, other than my family. They came with me for the for the experience, and they're still talking about that being the greatest weekend of their life. And these are guys that like get out and have fun, and they're like, that was the greatest weekend of their lives. Yeah, it was pretty special, and I just didn't understand how big being King of Bacchus was until I arrived at the airport. And you know, they don't allow people past security unless you're actually flying on the plane. I walk off the jetway. Keep in mind, I worked all night. I took like a 6 a.m. flight to get there. So I was like, okay, I know there's probably gonna be like people that are gonna greet me when, you know, I get down to baggage claim or something. And I'll stop in the bathroom and, you know, freshen myself up, splash the water on my face, do what I need to do to just be presentable.
Oops.
Walked off the jetway, and there was a brass band. So I turned around and ran back onto the plane. But seriously, it was like there was people. There was like, you know, the chief of police, and there was like the Brennans who run Bacchus, and my wife and JJ, and she comes running up to me, and I'm like, I mean, I remember, some of you aren't even old enough to remember this, but I remember when you could walk your family members or your friends to the gate and like wave goodbye or wait for them at the gate when they got off the plane, and obviously we haven't been able to do that for some time now, but so to see all of these people inside security and like, and my daughter's running up to me, and I'm like, what's happening to me? That was just a taste. And then we ended up getting into a, what do you call it, a escort?
What?
A motorcade, thank you. We get into the motorcade, and there were 4 different departments, I think, 4 or 5 different departments. There was like the sheriff's department, the highway department, the local police, and then there was, I think, the fire department or something. It was like everybody involved. It was like everyone. And then somebody leans over and is like, the president doesn't get this many people. And that's kind of when I was like, oh, damn, this is big. Like, I better turn it up. Yeah, so that was, it was quite an experience, and I don't know that I'll ever have something that big for a first time situation, but I'm happy you were there. I hope I didn't peg you in the face with beads. That later I did hit you in the face with beads? Somebody else did. Okay. Well, apparently that happens a lot. There's another parade called the Muses Parade, which happens on Thursdays. The Bacchus one is on Sunday. And we were eating at a restaurant while the parade was going by. We were eating at the Pontchartrain Hotel, which is a great place if you ever go. And we walked out after we finished dinner to see, and I was like, I just don't get it. Like, it's like plastic beads. They gotta cost 2 cents, you know? Why are people are going crazy? And I'm like, I don't get it. I walk out there and I'm like, give me the beads! Totally fell for it. And I was just like, I was screaming. And I don't know what it is. If you've never been, there's just something like animalistic that comes out where you need to catch something from the floats. And if you make eye contact with somebody, it's like the greatest thing ever. You're like, yes! Throw me the beads! Well, in the Muses parade, they're throwing beads and they're throwing other stuff. And there's also, they have decorated these high-heeled shoes because it's an all-woman parade. There's only women riding the floats. And yeah, they keep everything very separate down there because the Bacchus parade was only men. But hey, everybody's got their parade, so. Good times. And then they have this, the high-heeled shoe that they've decorated that is like the special get from the parade. So people will be tossing out beads, and then every now and again you'll get a tosser who will pick up this shoe, and that's like, I mean, that's like the big catch. Well, one of them picked up a shoe as they were passing us, and my father-in-law was standing next to me, and he was just enjoying the parade. Next thing you know, thunk! And he took a high heel right off the dome, and it like split him open. No, like it's like full contact sport. This is, if you go to Mardi Gras, wear a helmet. But when I remember being up on the big king's throne, I guess, and you know, they kept feeding me the beads to throw, and then there were also these little, they're like plastic coins, they're called doubloons, and they had buckets of them, and so I'd like reach in, grab handfuls, and just chuck them. And after a while, I noticed there was like the coins, they were silver, and I noticed that they were starting to turn red. And so I was like, what's happening? And I looked at my fingers, and they were just bloody. So that I was like digging my hands into these like these buckets full of plastic coins, and they were just shredding my hands up. So I stopped doing that. Because nobody wants bloody coins. And so I started just throwing the beads. And it turned into like a video game for me. Like, I'd get the beads, and I instead of just like throwing them like a frisbee, which didn't really work, I would ball them up. And it was like... But the best, I don't know why it was so satisfying. If I made eye contact with somebody, I'd be like... And if they would catch it, it was like, I'd get points. And I was all of a sudden living in like this Ready Player One world where there was like life and points, and I was like, ding, 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 ding. I don't know. I was just turned into a child up there, and it was amazing. So anyway, hope to see you there one day. Yes.
Hey, this episode this week is yours that you directed. Mm-hmm.
It is.
And you've been directing a couple times over the years. What are some things you've learned over that time, either about yourself as director or just the process itself?
So she was saying that the episode that airs on Thursday is the one that I directed this season. And what have I learned over the process of, I think this is my sixth one that I've done. A lot. I've learned a lot, and it's to my detriment, because I feel like the first episode I did was so easy, and it was because I knew so little. It's the whole like ignorance is bliss thing. But the more that I have directed, obviously the more knowledge I've picked up, and so it's like accumulating more tools. So the workshop's gotten a little bigger in my head, and it's tough. Directing is not an easy task by any means. I often say that as an actor, I'm responsible for my role, one link in the chain, and as a director, I'm responsible for every link. And so it's a lot to think about, and you have to, you not only have to visualize the story in your head, figure out how you want to tell that story from a visual perspective, communicate that properly to every department head there is, and then on the day, if something goes wrong, be able to audible and shift and scramble to make the story make sense. And I've had some really amazing mentors, from Kim Manners to Bob Singer to Phil Segrisha to a lot of the guys, John Showalter, who's directing this episode right now. A lot of these guys I watch who have been really successful over the years, and I just kind of watch and see not only how they do it from a technical standpoint, but also how they command a set. Because there's nothing worse than when we get directors on there that look like deer in headlights, and that's the worst thing, and that's the quickest way to lose a crew, is when something goes wrong and there's no answer because you got 80 sets of eyes looking at you for the answer because they're all like, what do we do now, boss? And if you don't at least come up with something quick, they're gonna be like, whatever. And one of the best pieces of advice that I ever got was from Phil. He said, you're gonna get asked a million questions every day. And it is true, you do. You get, like, even, not just during prep, but even when you're on the set, there's constantly questions rolling in. And he's like, have an answer. And this can be applicable to a lot of different jobs and a lot of different industries, I think. When people ask you a question, have an answer. You can always change your mind. But the moment you say, I don't care, or it doesn't matter, you've just diminished that person's job. And so, you know, it's basically just like care. Care what people are bringing to you. Care about the decisions that you're making. Care about their job and their piece of this puzzle. So it's tough. It's a balance. You gotta like keep all of this in mind. You gotta lead the crew. You gotta have answers, and I've seen people come and fail, and I've seen people come and succeed, and I just try to be on the ladder and try to watch those people that succeed and emulate that, because there's a Bob Singer says, he's like, hey, if you're gonna steal from the best. So that's what I try to do. All right, let's go over here, waving like this. Yeah, I see you.
Hi, Jensen.
Hi.
First off, you are beautiful.
Well, thanks for getting that out of the way.
I was just wondering, if you yourself had to face some of the monsters, ghosts, and demons that poor Dean has had to face, what would you do?
Run. Yeah. I'd call Dean Winchester. I don't know. That's a good question. I often say that Dean is. I enjoy playing Dean, and I've done it for so long, and I think I've been successful in doing so because he is a part of me. He's a exaggerated part of my personality, and you know, sometimes I hear people say, "Oh, your Dean is showing." Yeah, because he's in here, and they're like, "What's, you know?" People have asked, you know, what's going to happen when the show's done, you know, and Dean is gone forever. And I'm like, Dean is not gone. He's right in here. I got him. He's right here. You know, I was not classically trained as an actor. I didn't go to school for it. I didn't train under a certain style or any of that. So the way that I work, or the way that I tell the story through a character, is I use my own experience, I use my own personality, I use things that make sense to me. How would a part of me react in this situation? So part of me would like to think that if I was faced with an actual monster, I would react like Dean, because that's a part of my personality. There's also other parts of my personality. And I might go screaming like a little child, because there's certainly a little child inside here. Now I'm like multiple personalities.
Does the child have a name?
Now I've got issues. Yeah, I don't know. I will say this. I've done haunted houses for a lot of my adult life, every Halloween, and I'm rarely scared. So that kind of gives me a little hope in the fact that in the face of danger, I wouldn't go running. I would face it head on, and I would like to channel as much Dean Winchester as I can. Yes, sir, and the glasses. Hang on, you got a mic coming right there. We can all hear you.
Given the long run of the story
Mm-hmm.
series and many directions it's taken over the years, are you pleased with the way it's going to end?
Oh, you had to throw that one down, didn't you? I've talked about this a little bit before. Some of you may have heard this, but we went and sat down in the writer's room over the summer, and that's the first time we've done that ever in 15 years, or 14 years, I guess. And they gave us the pitch on what they had thought, or what they were planning to do for the end of the show. And I heard the pitch, and I was like, okay. And at first, I was kind of, it didn't sit well with me. And I went home, I slept on it, thought about it for a few days, and I was like, I don't know. I wasn't digging it. And so I was talking to my wife about it, and she was like, well, you should call somebody and talk to him about it. And I'm like, well, who? Everybody that was, was there in the room. Like, they're all on board. And she said, call Eric, Kripke, who created the show, who's not on the show anymore. He's off doing the Boys, which is a different show, which is fantastic if you haven't seen it. It's great. So I called him up, and I said, hey man, you built this world. These are your characters that you created. This is how we're gonna wrap it up. I'm having a problem digesting it, and I need your take on it. Just from an outsider's perspective who understands the world as well as he did. And he said, I'm getting on a plane right now, let me think about it, I'll send you an email. Great. So I got an email next day, and he broke it down in a way that really made sense, and he basically reminded me, he was like, you're too close to it. You got to step back and look at it from an audience perspective, from a fan perspective, and think about what the characters are going to go through, what the story is going to go through, and how that is going to settle once all the dust clears. And I thought about it, and he was right. And now I really am excited about the ending of the show, and I think you guys will too. And again, if at first you're like, what? Take a minute, step back and look at it maybe from a broader perspective, and think about how other endings might have fallen a little short or a little flat compared to what we're doing. So I hope you guys like it. We're gonna try our best to knock it out of the park like we always do. You guys have been with us for a long, long time. We don't wanna let you down. I don't wanna let myself down. I don't wanna let my friends and our cast and our crew down. So this is not us just kind of drifting off into the night. This is us going out with as big a fireworks show as you could possibly have. On that note, I think they're pulling me off the stage. That's it? All right, Cliff's gonna tackle me in a minute. Well, hey guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for not getting the news that Jared was here and taking off and leaving me here by myself with nobody here. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Love y'all. I'll see y'all then. And yes, double denim today. Deal with it.